Hi. Um, so I realize this is not normally the video I usually do, but I've been gone for a while and I wanted to make sure that I did this properly. And well, you see, technology is not great. But I did want to have an explanation of why I've been gone for so long. That's not a voiceover or anything like that. And I'm gonna show my hand on this side of the screen a lot, apparently, because I've done it several times now. This is probably like the best spot in my entire apartment. Just because everything is a mess. And not like a mess, but like, anyways, it's too much for Kenra. Too much. And I don't have a tripod, so you get whatever this is. I'm so sorry. But I'm going to try to keep this a short video so that we can get back to Sims 4 content and uploading streams and stuff when that happens, or once this happens, so that, because I want to have this explanation before I get back into any other content before, Anyways. So, just to begin, I feel like I might have mentioned, I don't know. Anyways, February. Around the 10th. If you watch my streams, I was having a lot of difficulty breathing for like maybe a week prior to the 10th. I was like super heavy breathing. And I'm going to upload the streams regardless, regardless of the fact that, because it's kind of embarrassing that I really just continued pushing through this when I clearly should have just gone to the hospital. But you can hear it in those, like on the 9th, I did a stream, and my sister was like, "What are you doing? Go to the hospital." And honestly, I should have gone that night, but I waited until the next day. And I was gonna wait until the weekend, and I'm so glad I didn't, because they said I could have died if I did. And so here we'll have the explanation of the 10th. So, February 10th, me and my boyfriend went to urgent care, and they said, "You seem to be having a lot of issues that we want to do a bunch of tests for, but we can't do them all here because we don't have all the equipment." And I'm sorry I'm not looking at the camera. It's like easier for me to focus when I'm not staring at myself. But I also want to make sure that it's still recording. So yeah. So they said go to the emergency room. That's how you're going to find out what's happening. They did a COVID test. It was negative. They did another COVID test at the emergency room as well, and I was also negative, so that's nice. But I went to the emergency room, waited like 3 hours to get in. And then after that, everything just went so fast. It was like, woo, 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 woo. Okay, so we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and then we're going to, like, take you back to the room. I spent, like, a total of, like, 5 minutes in my room for, like, 4 hours. It was just test. I come back, the doctor gives me bad news, I go to another test. So, basically, like, his first initial thing was, "Hey, what are you in for?" And I said, "I'm having trouble breathing." And on my way here, I talked to my sister, one of my sisters, and she said, "Make sure you tell him that your leg has been hurting." And so I told him, and I was like, "I have no idea how that has anything to do with me breathing." And he's like, "Oh, well, it has everything to do with that, actually, because a lot of the times, if you have a blood clot that starts in your leg, it can travel up into your lungs." And it's like, oh, brilliant. So, we did all these tests. It turns out I did have a blood clot in my leg. And you're going to see like my bathroom floor for a second because I want to show you how large this was. So like this is my leg. So from like here all the way up to here was where the blood clot was. So it was like halfway up my calf and then like basically halfway up my thigh. So it's just spanning that entire space. And then they were like, okay, so obviously it traveled up into my lung because there's no way. So they did a CT and it was huge. It's rare that you get a blood clot in your lung, but it's also even more rare that it's in both lungs, and that's what I had. In addition to that, my clot in my leg was not showing any outward appearance. So my leg had been accumulating this blood clot for quite some time, like years even. And it just adapted. Obviously my lungs were not so lucky to adapt to this blood clot. And that's why I had to go in. My leg would hurt. I would like massage it and stuff and like do the hot cold thing and it would stop hurting. So I was like, obviously I hurt my leg. Durr. No. I mean, technically, yeah, I guess I hurt my leg, but whatever. Anyways, so the next day on the Friday, the 11th, I believe it's the 11th, I freaking know. I'm so bad at days. They took out the one in my lungs. I was awake for that, by the way, and I could feel them like going in my lung. Like what they do is they go up through the groin, and then into my heart, through the heart into my lungs, and they sucked it out. And like afterwards, the assistant was like, or the assistant doctor, he is a doctor, but he's like the assistant to the surgeon. He was like, "Hey, you want to see the the tube that went in your body?" And I was like, "Sure." And he showed it to me. It's like a straw, but like slightly thicker. And that's the one that was like sucking stuff out. And then there was like a one that was like the one that went through like my groin. That sounds so weird. It was like about a quarter size so that they could feed the tube through. That's all healed now, which is nice. And then he showed me the blood clot itself. He only showed me part of it too, because I saw a picture the next day and it was even more. Like he was like, it's like right next to my face. He's like, "Here it is." I'm like, "Oh, thanks." And it was like, that was like a lot. I was like, that's a lot. And then the next day I saw a picture of it and like some x-rays and stuff. I'm not going to show anyone that. That's, yeah. I don't know, because I also don't know how to like hide things. But yeah, so that was 8 inches of blood clot in my lungs. Which honestly, like, I felt immediately so much better because like I could breathe, I could talk, I could actually like feel like I'm not having an encumberment. There is one in there right now, which is being thinned out by blood thinners, but it's like, it's so tiny. Like, you don't even need to worry. If you are worried, I don't even know if you are. But yeah. So then, I stayed in the hospital for like another few days, and the next Tuesday, which is the 15th, I think, is when they got rid of the one in my leg. Until then, I was like not allowed to walk at all, which really sucked. I mean, I had like the bedside commode, which was great. I was allowed to stand and then sit and then stand and then sit. Good times. But they wanted to make sure that the clot didn't continue going up into my lungs because it already had done it before, so they want to make sure. So then the next day, or was it the next day? Either the 15th or the 16th. I can't remember right now. I went home. Finally. I was so happy. I was like, I'm so tired of being in this hospital. And like, the thing is it's just, I wasn't sleeping well. My roommate was super nice, but she would play the TV all the time. And I just, it wasn't always a problem, but like, I don't know, something about it, like, by the end, I was getting on my nerves. I was like, please, I just need you to stop. But I also didn't want to, like, ruin her experience, because she had been there way longer, so I was, like, not gonna be rude to her at all. But then, okay, so then I went home, set up all my doctor's appointments, and then, like, I went to my primary, I just went to the primary, yeah. Which is basically like, hey, I was in the hospital. Oh, really? What's the plan? Oh, this is the plan. Are you doing the plan? Yes, I am. Okay, cool, you can go home now. I'm like, oh, wonderful. So I did the primary, and obviously, like, I want to make sure the primary knows what's going on, so it's not like I'm annoyed that I had to go to the primary. It was just kind of funny that it was like the shortest primary appointment I've ever had. So then I was supposed to, like, on that same week, I was supposed to get my stitches out. But they had to push it back. And then I went to go do that, on a Monday, the 28th. Yes. The 28th of February. Which was great, because they found a new plot. And I was on I was on the blood thinners. So I somehow created a new clot on blood thinners, and it was like, oh, cool, thanks. And I went to a different hospital this time, because this is like where the surgeon works out of. And she's not normally at the hospital that I was at the first time, but whatever. So I went to a new hospital, and like, I spent like 2 hours in the emergency waiting room again, which was like, whatever. And then I spent, I want to say, like, almost 6 hours in the emergency waiting for a room, which really sucked. It wasn't bad, but, like, I don't want to, like, rag on people or anything. Like, I don't want to say they were doing their jobs wrong, because obviously I don't know how to do the job. But, like, it took them 2 hours to get me an IV so that I could have this CAT scan that I was supposed to have. And then they put it in the wrong spot, and then it took them another hour to put it in the right spot. And I was like, guys, come on, please. It was a bad time. I did not like it. But then I had 2 IVs, which is basically what I need most of the time anyway, because, like, in the first hospital, they needed 2 IVs most of the time anyway. So, good for me. Yay. So, the next day, on the 1st, I had the surgery to get that blood clot out, which was in my thigh. It wasn't as big, but it was definitely a significant clot, obviously. And what she did is, she noticed that my vein was too small. So that's why it was getting caught through the vein. So what she did is she went in with, like, balloons and opened up the vein so that the blood flow could happen. And then, the next step was basically finding a new blood thinner for me, which is, just a stronger blood thinner, which is what I am on now. Yeah. And then, so she didn't actually take the blood clot out itself, because it was so new that it can be, broken down by the blood thinner. And good news, it is getting smaller. All the blood clots are getting smaller. There's blood flow I can talk real good. Blood flow through my veins so that my left leg is completely, like, it's getting back to normal. We haven't checked on the one in my lungs since I left, which I was there for almost 11 days. Almost. But it was such a long time. And the only reason I had to stay so long, this is nothing to do with blood clots, I had dizzy spells, which called for rapid responses. And, like, I won't get too personal. I think I told the whole story in a stream. So if you really want to go find it, I'll label it as, like, talking about hospitalization or whatever. And it'll be in the first, like, hour, because I took an hour to tell this story the first time. We're at 15 minutes. But yeah, so basically, like, they had me on iron for 3 days. The first day was fine. The second day, towards the end of the iron, I was in the bathroom. Personal. But, like, I wasn't doing anything. I was just in the bathroom. I just got into the bathroom. I started feeling lightheaded. I started feeling hot and cold at the same exact time, which was the weirdest experience. I hated it. And then my hands and feet were tingling. I was nauseous and my stomach hurt. And I felt like I needed to go to the bathroom, but I couldn't because I'm freaking dizzy and hot and cold and, like, I experienced all these things. So they called for a rapid response. This very nice man who was very strong picked me up, put me on a wheelchair, and then picked me up and put me on my bed. And I was like, wow, I am like 280 pounds almost. Well, I'm 250 right now because I haven't been able to do anything. And I'm like, wow, you are so strong. And, like, I mean, he didn't, like, pick up my whole body weight, but still. Anyways, this is spending way too much time on this person. So, that happened. And then, like, it didn't take too long for me to go back to, like, get back to normal. They had taken me off the iron in the process because I was almost done with it anyway. And, like, I slept for, like, a whole hour after that. Like, my dad came back. And after I had calmed down, like, I actually went to the bathroom, and that was nice. But it really sucked. It was, like, a horrible time. And then the next day, I was told I was not allowed to walk on my own. I had to call. And I was like, fine, okay, I get it. Because we thought, I was just overdoing it. Like, I just went too fast or something, you know? But the next day, I was just sitting there in my bed, coloring. She put me on the iron. Like, not even, like, 10 minutes later, I started feeling dizzy. I called her. I said, hey, I feel dizzy. And she says, okay, call me if it gets any worse. And then I started feeling the hot cold. And I was like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that right now. So I called and I'm like, no. So then we called another rapid response. Yay. This is why it keeps prolonging my freaking stay. I had people asking, oh, hey, you're still here. And I'm like, yeah, I am. Thanks for noticing. So that rapid response resulted in us going and getting a CT of my abdomen because my abdomen, like, it hurt so bad. And I did have an inflamed colon. So they were like, maybe that's the issue. But then I didn't have any of those issues after that. And they took me off the iron during that time. And they said, and I started feeling better, like, really quickly after that. My stomach still hurt. I still felt weak because my body was having such a harsh response, you know? I keep, like, putting myself off to the side, like, hey. But yeah, so that resulted in them wanting to do an endoscopy, which resulted in more stay at the hospital. Which they didn't find anything, which was fine. That's good. I'm glad. They did want a colonoscopy at some point, but I have to be off blood thinners, and that's not anytime soon. Because the hematologist thinks the blood thinners will be a lifelong thing. We're still working on what caused it. The vascular surgeon, obviously, like, the first time they put a stent in, obviously I had those really thin veins. So those could have been the issue. The stent is separating two veins that were pushing on each other and causing pressure. And obviously the vein was small. But the hematologist wants to make sure that it's not anything like disease related. So that's happening soon. Obviously I'll keep updates. I don't know about if I'm going to do more vlogs soon, or if I'm just going to stick to Sims 4 content. I do want to do vlogs. Obviously this is not like the best quality. Although I think I've done pretty well on being stable with my hand. with all this. But I do want to, like, you know, share my days with you guys. I want to share more than what I have been. Because on streams, it's so fun. And, like, I want to bring that sort of environment over to YouTube. And, like, Sims 4 is great. I love it. I want to continue what I'm doing there. But I do want to, like, branch out and do vlogs and all that stuff. And this is no longer about blood clots or anything. Or hospitalization. But I just want to, like, I want to let you guys know, like, that I'm not gonna stop content just out of nowhere again. Like I did before, like in high school and college and stuff. The only reason it stopped was because of the hospital stuff. There was just no way to get anything done, upload anything, stuff like that. And it sucked. I hated it. I was like, I just want to do the things. I just want to live my life. But yeah, and that's like a really shortened version of everything. There is the elongated version through the stream. Obviously, like, I probably went on tangents a lot during that, but there's probably more details in there if you really want to know more. But yeah, and like, I just really appreciate everyone who stuck around, and like been there for me during this time. Not just family members and friends, it's people who are viewers that I'm just like, wow, I mean, I'm not even like that big, but like, it's weird that I have people outside of the people in real life, which is, it's so weird to me. Like, I knew when this was gonna happen at some point, maybe. But, yeah. So, I just want to say thank you to everyone. And, I'm gonna try to put out a video, on Thursday, but honestly, I might change the upload days, to Tuesday, Friday instead. Because I stream Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday. And I think it might be easier if I do Friday and Tuesday. But we'll see how it goes. But yeah, and I don't know what I'm going to upload on Thursday. I might try to do another vlog. I might do some Sims 4 stuff. I might not even upload on Thursday anyway. If I'm being entirely honest. Because everything's just been a lot. And I'm trying my best to not, like, get overwhelmed and stuff with all the appointments and all the medications, but I keep forgetting everything. I already had an issue with forgetting stuff. And now I have to schedule in, you know, obviously, like, we're scheduling in, you know, reminding myself to do certain things. Like, I have to eat 3 times a day now because I need to have a specific intake of vitamin K, and I need to do, like I need to have the medications in the morning, and some of them I have to eat food to take them, and then I have to do this and I have to do that, and obviously like we have all these there's so many appointments. And I don't want to like complain. Like this is, and I can't even say it's my fault. It's my body's fault. It's the way it was made, which kind of sucks. It's like, oh, gee, thanks. What did I ever do to you? Live. But yeah, so everything's just a little overwhelming. So just bear with me while I get back on track and like do all the things that I'm supposed to be doing, and then add in the things that I want to do. But until then, I will be streaming, because those are super, like, it's easy to do those. It's a lot different than I'm going to record for 2 hours and then I'm going to edit for 5 hours. Because basically you edit for 2 hours and then, or you record for 2 hours and then it basically is like add an extra hour, because you're pausing and you're kind of tweaking, and then you have to add on like a 30 minutes for, you know, the extra stuff that you want to do. And I'm starting to do a little bit of extra stuff. And it's just, it takes time. And then obviously I want to do right by my body by like eating 3 times a day, and then going for, I have a dog back, WALKs by myself, so that my legs start like getting better and like building up the strength that they're supposed to have, because obviously like there was a huge clot there. And it's just a lot. And I know I've repeated myself quite a bit in the last like 3 minutes maybe, and I apologize for that. This is gonna be like a super raw, unedited video. I'm just uploading it. Could be like, hey, how are you? But yeah, so, stop saying, I really appreciate everyone's support, and I just want to make sure that, stop, that you all know that, like, I really appreciate, even if you don't comment, even if you don't, like, make yourself known, I really appreciate you being here and, like, watching. And I will see you guys in the next video that I make. Obviously, like, things are kind of up in the air on, like, scheduling right now, and I'm sorry that this is how it has to be right now. But, yeah. I just wanted to let you guys know what's going on, basically. And, bye!